Okay, so I just watched the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 movie, and in this video I kind of just wanted to go over my thoughts on the movie. Do I think it's good or do I think it's bad? And I also just want to say, I'm not going to go into any spoilers for most of this video. I'm going to have a section at the end of the video where I'm going to talk about some spoilers, but that's just going to be like a small section at the end of the video. So I'm going to warn you guys when we get to the spoiler part. So if you don't want to get spoiled, please just stick around for like this first part of the video, and then you can click off at the second part of the video where I talk about spoilers. But yeah, let's just get right into it. So did I like this movie? Yeah, I did. I did really like this movie. But I feel like this movie is kind of the same with the first movie, where it's kind of like just made for the fans. Because like there's a lot of stuff that happens in the movies that like don't really get an explanation, but like if you know the lore, you know what's going on. But like if you don't know the lore at all, you might be a little confused. And that is like one reason why I feel like the general audience and critics just don't really like the movie that much. Which I totally get, because I totally get why you might not like the movie if you're not a fan. But like for me that is a fan and is a huge fan of the lore and the games and like everything about this franchise, I did really enjoy the movie and I had no trouble understanding a lot of the stuff here. Now when it comes to the characters in this movie, I did really enjoy them. Like Mike is of course still great, Abby is still great, Vanessa is still great. However, I have a small issue with Vanessa, and that is that she has like this plot point in like the first half of the movie and it kind of just disappears in the second half of the movie, and I kind of wish we got more of that because it was kind of interesting. And I know some people are also kind of complaining about the lack of William Afton in this movie, because I mean, I do agree, William Afton was a big highlight of both the first movie and this movie, but I'm fine with him not being much in this movie, because they're definitely saving him up for like the big villain in the third movie. So I am completely fine with him not being that much in the movie, even though he was like one of the bigger highlights of the movie, because he was of course great in this movie as he was in the previous movie, but I'm fine with him not being much in the movie because I know he'll have a really big role in the third movie. And also when it comes to Henry wasn't really that much in the movie, which I wish he was more in the movie, especially since this movie deals with Charlie. He's the father of Charlie, so I wish he was more in the movie because of that. But I feel like they're probably saving him for the future, which I really hope, because I really want to see more of Henry, because the few scenes we had with Henry, I really liked him. I really thought Henry was a great character from like the little interactions we had with him in the movie. So I really hope we get to see him more in the future, and I kind of just wish he was more in this movie. And I also want to say, the animatronics look absolutely stunning. Jim Henson's Creature Shop did an amazing job with these animatronics. Like, the animatronics for the first movie, they looked really good of course, but the ones here, dude, these just look ripped straight out of the games. They look so incredibly good. The toy animatronics, the wizards, the puppet, they all look so incredibly good. And I did like the voice acting they did for them. I know like Funtime Freddy didn't really have his personality from like Ultimate Custom Night, but I'm fine with that. In Ultimate Custom Night he was a little more goofy, and I get that they tried to go more of a horror direction with him here, and I was pretty happy with his voice. And when it comes to Toy Bonnie, like, you can barely hear that it's MatPat. Like, if you didn't know, MatPat voices Toy Bonnie, and you can barely hear that it's MatPat. He has a bit of a more high-pitched voice, and I'm personally a fan of that, because I feel like the high-pitched MatPat voice works a lot better for Toy Bonnie than, like, the regular MatPat voice. So I am completely fine that you can't really hear that it's MatPat, because, like, I just think the voice fits Toy Bonnie a lot. And I also think Megan Fox did a really good job as Toy Chica. You can tell that she was kind of trying to replicate the Toy Chica voice from Ultimate Custom Night a little. And I thought Toy Chica's voice was probably the best voice out of all of these animatronics, because I really enjoyed Megan Fox's performance here. Now I have some complaints about some of the animatronics, like the puppet. I'm not gonna go too much into it because some of my complaints about the puppet are spoilers, so I'm gonna save at least my complaints about the puppet for the spoiler section. But I will say, the design is fantastic. I love the puppet's design, and I love how she moves. Like, the puppet is definitely the creepiest thing in this movie, because like, she moves so creepily. And I love what they did with Charlotte in this movie. Like, I'm not gonna go that much into Charlotte now in the movie, because, like, I think that counts as a spoiler, so I'm not gonna talk that much about it now. But I did like what they did with Charlotte in this movie. However, I, of course, have a complaint about the puppet with what they did with her in the movie, but I'm gonna go into that in the spoiler section. And I'm also a little bit disappointed of the usage of the Wither animatronics, because I love the Wither animatronics. They have a really good design, but they weren't really that much in the movie. Like, the movie was way more focused on the toy animatronics than the Withers, which I do get. The second game was focused a lot more on the toy animatronics than the Withers. But I do wish the Withers had a bit more of a spotlight in this movie, because I really like the Wither animatronics designs and I just wanted to see more of them because they look great in the movie. They look absolutely fantastic. Now, I will say, when they were making this movie, they said it was going to be bigger and scarier. It was definitely bigger, like everything was bigger, more animatronics, more kills, more everything. I think there were more kills. I actually can't remember if there were more kills. But anyways, the important thing is it was scarier. But it still wasn't that scary. Now I get it, it's a PG-13 horror film and it's FNAF. I was never expecting it to be scary, but like, I still want to see the movies be a little more scarier. And there were a lot of jump scares. Like, a lot more jump scares in this movie than the last movie. But not all of them felt necessary. Like, some of the jump scares felt a little unnecessary and kind of just, they put a jump scare there just to have a jump scare. And I also want to say, the kills in this movie are kind of bogged down due to the PG-13 rating. Now, I get why they want to make these movies PG-13 because I know a lot of the FNAF audience are pretty young. But I do wish it had a little bit of a higher age rating because, like, I'm a big slasher fan, so I like to see some bloody kills and, like, cool kills. But for this movie, it feels like a lot of the times when you think you're gonna get a cool kill, the camera kind of just cuts away. And it's kind of just disappointing because, like, I want to see the kill. I want to see the full kill in full gory action. But we don't really get it, which is kind of disappointing, but I get it since it's a PG-13 movie. And now I want to talk about the two sections in this movie that were like my favorite scenes. So first, we have Mike actually playing FNAF 2. Because there's a scene in the movie where Mike actually plays FNAF 2. Like, he uses the mask, he checks the hallway with the flashlight. And that scene was so much fun. Because, like, he's just playing FNAF 2 on the big screen. And that is what you call peak. And the opening scene was probably the best part of this movie. I absolutely loved the opening scene in this movie. And I will say this, the opening scene kind of gave me tears of joy because, like, I was just so happy to see another FNAF movie on the big screen. Like, right when the opening scene ended and the opening credits started, I got tears from my eyes. And I also want to say the opening credits are still a banger. They use the same song that they used for the first movie's opening credits and it is so good. That music is so good. They need to use it for the third movie as well. And there are also a lot of references in this movie, like a lot. If you've seen the first movie, you definitely expect there to be a lot of references here. And yeah, there are a lot of cool references in here and a lot of inside jokes. And those jokes were extra fun since I know what they're referencing, so yeah, it was pretty fun actually. So yeah, I really enjoyed Five Nights at Freddy's 2. I don't actually know if I think it's better than the first movie or not, because I kind of flip-flop with like some parts I like more about the second movie and some parts I like more about the first movie, but I enjoy them both pretty much equally. But yeah, now I'm gonna get into my spoiler talk, so if you don't want to get spoiled in this movie, please click off the video now because I am gonna get into some spoilers. So yeah, let's just get right into the spoilers. So the biggest complaint I have with this movie is kind of how they handled the puppet, because as I said, I really like what they did with Charlie, like her being filled with rage and anger towards parents, because the last emotion she felt when she died was anger towards all of the parents. So I really like what they did with the puppet, with her just being angry and filled with rage and she just wants revenge. I really like that direction they took with her. It's a bit different from the games, where in the games she's more like caring and like saves the children, gives them life in the animatronics. But I am completely fine with this direction they're taking because like I really like it. But the complaint I have with the puppet is like, we don't really see the puppet in her puppet form throughout most of the movie. she just possesses other characters for most of the movie. Like she possessed Lisa, I believe her name was, in the movie, and then around the end she possessed Abby. And I just didn't really find those possessions as scary as like the regular puppet form, because like I love the few scenes we actually had with the actual puppet, because like I love the design of the puppet. It is one of my favorite designs in FNAF, and they did an amazing job bringing the design to the big screen. And I also just love how the puppet moves, because she moves so creepily, but it's just not as scary when she possesses other humans. But I will say, it was kind of creepy when she possessed Abby. Like, I feel like the face paint was a lot more effective with Abby than it was with Lisa. And the long limbs also kind of creep me out. But I still wish we got more of the puppet in her actual form. And I do hope that we might get that in the third movie, because like the puppet survives this movie, so she's definitely gonna be a big player in the third movie, and especially with how it ended with her taking over Vanessa. But that also has me worried, because I feel like she's gonna probably be Vanessa for most of the third movie, and I kind of just want to see the puppet in her puppet form for most of the third movie, honestly. And another thing in this movie is the reveal of Michael Afton. And I found it kind of weird that like in the beginning of the movie he said his name was Michael, and then at the end of the movie he revealed that his full name is Michael Afton. And this movie is made for the fans in mind, so I don't know why they built it up as this plot twist when like it said his name is Michael. Of course he is Michael Afton, so it wasn't really much of a twist. But the direction they took with Michael was interesting, at least, because in the games, he seems to be actually a good dude. Well, of course not in his teenage years, but he's not working with William Afton in the games, so it was interesting to see the direction they took with him in the movie, and I do kind of like it. I do kind of like the direction they took with Michael Afton in the movie, where he's actually evil here. Or hear me out, maybe he is possessed by Ennard in this movie. Because we of course know in the games he was possessed by Ennard for a little while. Okay, I don't know if possessed is the right word. Ennard was inside of his body. So kind of possession, I don't know how to describe it. So maybe that's the case, but I kind of doubt it. I think they just made Michael Afton a bad guy, which I am open to. And then, for the final battle of the movie, the FNAF 1 animatronics came and destroyed the FNAF 2 animatronics. And it was kind of funny. I know they built it up to be this epic moment and stuff, but it was more funny than epic. Especially like I remember back in the day in the FNAF community, all of these animations of like the FNAF 1 animatronics versus the toy animatronics. And now they just brought that to the big screen. And it was honestly just funny. However, I do think the toy animatronics were destroyed a bit too easily, but at the same time, I get that they didn't really want a full-on fight between the toy animatronics and the regular FNAF 1 animatronics, because that would be a lot more goofy than it was already here. Because I thought it was a little goofy and a little funny, but I mean, I don't have a lot of issues with it. And then I really like that in the credits we had It's Been So Long from The Living Tombstone. I was kind of expecting it because like the first movie had the FNAF 1 song from The Living Tombstone in the credits, so I was expecting It's Been So Long here, and I'm happy there was. And in the post-credit scene, we saw our first look at Springtrap, and I am real excited for that. I was expecting Springtrap to be revealed in the post-credit scene because like, we already know that the third FNAF movie is going to be based on the third game. Well, at least, I think we assumed so. And yeah, it's definitely going to be based on the third game, because not only Springtrap's going to be there, but the people that like went to get Springtrap, they mentioned a horror attraction. So they're definitely setting up Fazbear's Fright for the third movie. And I'm just really excited to see Springtrap's full design in the third movie. And I'm just really excited for the third movie in general. So yeah, overall, I really enjoyed the FNAF 2 movie. I have a lot of issues with it, as you heard. But overall, I had a really good time, and the theater experience was really good, honestly, because like there were like a lot of fans. Like I saw some people in Bonnie ears, some people with Freddy ears, some people with face paint. One person I saw was in a puppet cosplay. There were other people with like FNAF costumes, like Freddy mask. I think there was a Bonnie mask, I don't remember. But yeah, it was such a fun time in the theater. And I am super excited for the third movie, if we get it, because I don't think it's been confirmed yet that we're getting a third movie, but I'm guessing we're probably getting it. But anyways, I want to hear from you guys. What did you think about Five Nights at Freddy's 2? Let me know in the comments below. But I'll see you guys next time. Bye!